now. I go for digital business ecosystem, and the whole situation with business world in respect of our distributed model and service-oriented computing. Giving you a little bit background, the term business ecosystem is some sort of metaphoric term that has been introduced by James Moore in 1993. Okay, the concept is older, but this sort of conceptual metaphoric definition came with a famous article of Moore when he analyzed the business world and described it with lots of small and medium enterprises or small and medium businesses and a few large organizations that he called them keystones. Later on, the analysis and literature has shown that these keystones act as hubs. They are quite important and they provide the connectivity of the whole business world. And when you look at the whole picture, most of the connectivity will be provided by these large organizations. There is quite interesting literature that analyzes the world from really long time ago until now, that you can see what is the role of these keystones and how this role has been changed during the time until we reached the time of digital world, when everything started to be networked and a large organization started to grow and use the intranet and extranet for outsourcing, and they were not limited to geographical boundaries like being just in UK or US. And they can outsource everywhere with their intranet. They can be optimized and be connected to different branch of themselves. But the actual revolution was internet. That changed everything. By internet, we had the first mover. Those that were clever enough to use the new system, knowing it, and take advantage. For example, you can see Google. That was a small company, but it was one of the first mover. If you go to PC world, in terms of operating system, you reach Microsoft as a first mover. Microsoft was a first mover. That's why it captures operating system world. There are lots of examples. For example, in social networking, the first mover was Facebook, and etc., etc. But what is the problem? When you have the first mover, they will be actually keystone. They will be large hub. And practically, the probability for another small company to grow and become like a large hub is extremely low. Actually, the whole business world can be controlled by these used to be first movers and now large hubs. Despite all of the claim about the coordination models, actually the coordination models of business transaction is controlled by these big organizations. And even in the term of service-oriented, they provide tightly coupling and they enforce their standards. as they violate the loosely coupling, and still it has been called service-oriented, which violate the first or primary principle of service-oriented. Studies showed this is the actual situation of the network. Few nodes have majority of connections, and majority of nodes have a few connections. And by growing the number of nodes, the number of connection of those hubs increase dramatically. Several organizations try to solve this problem, or you may say, providing a fair system for competition. The concept of digital business ecosystems has been introduced by European Commission and different organizations and governments around Europe and world try to provide similar concepts. This is a little bit history about what they want to do and what they want to achieve in terms of European Commission and another organization in Australia that they actually try to have they try to be inspired by actual properties of ecosystems, and as you can see, interestingly enough, it can be matched with service-oriented with a few extensions. If you have a service-oriented system or environment that provide self-organizing mechanism in terms of its interaction model or its stability, and loosely coupling is one of the principles of service-oriented computing, you may reach ideal world of digital business ecosystem. In terms of transactional view of business ecosystem, you have some environment like this that lots of transactions will be run. Here is just 5 transactions with overlap, because you will see when you are dealing with transactions you have overlap, because there are large organizations that they will be involved in most of the transactions. For example, here VPTN is a stand for Virtual Private Transaction Network. We have VPTN1, which demonstrate transaction 1 and its participants. Participant 3 and 4 are part of this VPTN or transaction. Same in VPTN2, participant 3 still is involved. In VPTN5, you have involvement of participant 4. In VPTN4, which is transaction 4, both participant 4 and 3 are involved. In VPTN3, again, participant 3 is involved. As you can see, in the real world, it's similar. There are few nodes or few businesses that most of the transactions they are involved in most of transactions. Therefore, you can see lots of links. The primary concept that has been introduced was virtual superpeer. It was an algorithmic model that tried to solve this problem by providing virtual superpeer. Virtual superpeer is not one node. It's aggregation of several nodes by one condition. They are stable Where they are stable in their own VPTN, Virtual Private Transaction Network. They can be automatically chosen in that business network, and you can apply these algorithms several times and choose the most stable nodes in each region or each cluster. And aggregation of these nodes together can provide a virtual superpeer. The condition is the stability of these nodes supposedly is permanent, virtually is permanent. That's why we call it virtual superpeer. They are not really superpeer, but virtually they try to provide this stability. Now in this network, they act as a hub. They are hub of this network. I don't know how, if you can see this picture. And because they work based on algorithm, they have been chosen based on algorithm, dynamically they can change. Because the algorithm can be executed per transaction, and billions of transactions can be run in a day or even an hour if you look at it in the whole business world. Therefore, when the stability of a node based on overload traffic or any accident will be reduced, another node, the second most stable node, will be chosen for a particular virtual superpeer. And immediately these links can be replicated in the second most stable node in that particular virtual private transaction network, if we think about just two levels. If there are several levels, this can be repeated in several levels. I haven't drawn the algorithm and I haven't started to analyze the algorithm, but if you have questions, you can ask now. And this is the method that I've worked on it for a few years, and this has been implemented in at least 2 open source projects, 2 open source codes, one in Spain and the other one in Brazil, using virtual European Commission. Of course, the Spanish company has been they've tried to fund themselves by themselves. They were partially funded by European Commission, and they continue the implementation by themselves. Both implementation is based on Java. Okay, any other question? Good. Of course, you can ask question here. Now, try to quickly give you a whole image, a brief image, let's say. We have talked about keystones in terms of metaphoric definition of business ecosystems, and then we try to analyze the current business world based on the keystones and see what is the problem. Then we move to the conceptual digital business ecosystem, and we have talked about one particular solution. There are 2 implementations, one in Kenai project, the other one is Zero on Thought, that is focused on a collaborative environment.